Okay, YouTubers, Reloading Bench back with you once again, and I'm reaching out to you all, the machinist community, the lathe community, the 3D printing community, the artistic community, because now that I have more than a few of these bouncing around in a drawer, I've come across, in my search for a solution. And I like the concept of a holder, essentially a 3D printed holder that would hold all of the tool posts, my 6 or 7 tool posts, out of the way in the sense that it's not in front of me on the table or the bench rather. It's mounted someplace, again, accessible but out of the way and not in my drawer. So I found some folks on eBay, and there's a handful of them that print something very similar to this. The problem is I don't want to have to build a shelf on the back of my splash guard, chip guard, whatever this particular thing is called, with this 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch square overhang. So I like the concept, but I don't like having to create yet another thing on top of the lathe or in back of the lathe. So conceptually, this is what I'm looking for. Somebody who 3D prints. I actually reached out to a guy. I'll show you another picture. This particular gentleman, because this is the actual concept I want to implement. This particular chip guard's backsplash is thin. It does not have that 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch, I'll just call it a square blocking. So you can't slide this onto this. So I reached out to this guy because he's got a couple of different versions, and he's got an AXA version of what I'm looking for that compensates or accounts for or is made to deal with this square 1/4 inch overhang, as opposed to this very thin, less than 1/8 of an inch slice where he just sets the blocks into. Well, then I found, and this is the close-ups of some of the designs. This is different. This particular person's a different one, I believe, but again, very similar in concept, but still a little bit different because I don't want to have to mount it to a plate. So I found a guy in the UK, of all places, which I won't do business with, not because I don't want to, just because it's cost prohibitive, time prohibitive. He makes exactly what I'm looking for. And what's cool about this version, and this is what I'm asking the community, can anybody make this at reasonably priced? So he sells like 4 or 5 for whatever the price, and then shipping, and obviously overseas would just be throw it through the ceiling. I don't even know if he would do it overseas. I wouldn't. But nobody here makes this version. I can't find it on eBay, Etsy. You do a Google search on OXA holders. Some people make some racks, but this is the cleanest solution because, again, it takes into account my squared edge top of my chip splash, and they basically mount to that, so you don't need another plate, yet another plate. And what's really cool is, because all the tools then face into the chip guard, if there's oil or chip or whatever, it'll eventually just drip onto the tray, as opposed to something like this, which it's ultimately going to be all yuckied up and whatnot. And again, you have to make another plate and have to deal with supporting that plate. Whereas this design, what did I do with it? What did I do with it? This design clamps or sets right into, because of the hook, it sets right into that 1/4 inch. So if anybody out there is 3D print savvy, I have no issues paying what I'll call reasonable price, basically similar to what the eBay folks are charging, plus some more for your time to make what I think is a missing market segment. I was actually quite surprised that this isn't more prevalent, considering the amount of people / YouTubers that I see doing mini lathe stuff on an OXA size quick change tool post. So where do you put all your tools? And throwing them in a drawer is okay for one or two, but it's getting a little bit cumbersome, and then leaving them out on the bench just gets everything messy. So if anybody is 3D print savvy, hit me up in the comments. I would appreciate it, because I'm sure other folks would be interested in purchasing said tool post holder just like I am. So got to get this off the bench for sure. That's it. Take care.